Good vote, everyone. You people interested in our old Morale C buddies uniting to defeat the final boss? A couple of folks who wanted the castle troops, the Morale Bs, to put Arech Dragonbreath down, but the vast majority wanted to see some jazz hands be directed to victory and glory in a humiliating defeat. For the final boss, that of course is entirely optional. Hell, everything's optional once you figure out where the scepter is. But that guy specifically, you'd only, need that piece if you weren't sure of where the scepter was with all of the other surrounding pieces. And so needed that one day, time of failed the search to go hunting. I figure you could use that time elsewhere, instead of preparing for the final boss fight. Like just finding the scepter, just looking around the map. What do I know, right? Anyway, that's what you voted for. We're gonna tell a story through game and pictures. So, here we are. I got 14 archmages, not running me that much gold per turn. I've stashed garrisons up here and up here, and I've stashed the rest of the army so that they aren't running me a deficit. And now, what we're going to be doing is waiting. Week of the Dragons. Oh boy. See, I had 2 dragons left over in this dwelling that I picked up. Now, there's another 50 in the 2 dwellings, 25 each. So I go recruit these. I stash them in a castle so that I'm not paying maintenance for them. And then we come back and wait. Week of the Peasants, that happens. Same interval. Week of the Knights, useless. Barbarians, we've moved on. Ogres, no. Peasants, pikemen, no. Elves, moved on. Giants, would be useful because there's a giant dwelling here, but wouldn't want to keep flying to that and then having to walk or teleport to stash them somewhere. Too time consuming. Peasants, ghosts, nah. Pikemen, pikemen, great. Peasants. Orcs, no. Archers, no. Dragons. It's another 50 dragons. Peasants, elves, dwarves, nomads, peasants, militia. Fucking useless weeks. Again, these castle troops, you'll never find dwellings of them around the maps. You have an infinite supply of them at the castle. Trolls, peasants, dragons. Damn, 3 dragon weeks. That's another 50 dragons. Ogres, pikemen, peasants, archers, ogres, ghosts, peasants, demons. There's a demon week. That's 25 demons, because we have 1 dwelling of that. Elves, ogres, peasants, dwarves, cavalry, nomads, peasants, dwarves, archmages. Cool, that's another 25 of them. And stopped around here. With the regular intervals of the Week of Peasants, I figure that's 1 more in-game month. Maximus has just been wasting away as we keep collecting this fucking paycheck, and we're not paying army maintenance on all of the forces we stash in the various castles. We pay that initial fee to set them up, but then it's basically on, royal budget, all of the, the training and the food and the care. Just keep raking in this cash. We had a pretty good sum of cash to begin with going into this, and, well, I didn't spend any in this demonstration of what it was like to recruit, but trust me, we would have still been millionaires. I would know. I went through this, and I didn't get 3 dragon weeks. Let's go ahead and close this reality. I don't want to save this game because it's irrelevant, and this save can go to heaven. Now, I do have to shut down and restart the emulator because otherwise the bad people will get me. It's a stability thing. I think you got to see some sweet desktop action there. drag this back over, if only for a moment. So, in my reality, I did get a Week of the Dragons, and I got a second Week of the Dragons. I got 2 Week of the Vampires, I got 2 Week of the Archmages, which made it difficult for me to balance out what troop stack I was going to have in my army so as to get me the most gold. And I had 1 Week of the Demons. No 3 Dragon Weeks. So after all that waiting, giving us 20 days left, I was left with that. 64 Archmages, 153 Dragons. Just imagine if I had the 3rd week there, that'd be 203. 65 Demons and 200 Vampires. That army, perfectly capable of defeating the final boss. And all I did was use time. And gold I had on hand. Nothing else. To just lob some spells, to engage in some conflict resolution. Could be touch and go. All of your dragons are concentrated in 1 stack there. Arech Dragonbreath's dragons are put into 3 stacks. But you have a few more than what he's got. You'd have more demons, but I have twice as many vampires. And he'd have, like, he doesn't have, like, a 4th, like, his 4th and 5th are basically the dragons, like, divided into 3, so I could have brought along something else there. Perfectly capable of defeating the final boss. But that's not what you voted for. I did have a viewer comment and prediction that, you know, this is possible with anyone. I have my knight, I got raised control, and then I just raised army, and that's pretty cheap, and I just pulled knights out of the ether. I'm a sorceress, so I can't do that. I can pull many druids out of the ether. Like 24 with my current spell power. Sure. But that's not... No. So, I loaded up on a bunch of clone spells, and got into one of those wandering monster fights I left around on Forestria. Sprites, nomads, and dragons. Left the nomads to dance around, and once I used all my clones, I started burning through some other spells I didn't need in the spell book so I could make room for more clone spells. And we end up with that. Also note the time that expired there, between the last image and this one. We've got that. Remember, I can't clone dragons. Now, all of that army is being perfectly maintained through the power of raise control. You have a hard leadership cap at 65,000. But, you know, our leadership score unaugmented is, what, the 8,000s? Doesn't take that many castings of a 500 gold piece spell for a sorceress to get to the cap. And from then, there's so much more fun we could have. So, with my spellbook emptied and, you know, uncluttered, I loaded up on more clone spells. But then I got distracted. I was listening to a role-playing video in the background of a Dreads of the Dragon Coast, Dungeons & Dragons 4th Edition campaign I've been a part of. First session in 47 I missed on Friday. I'll link that playlist in the video description, or at least the last video of it. I was typing up a comment for that, and lo and behold, there's dwarves, and they were so easy, so I got complacent, and they attacked my Archmage, and the Archmage just utterly obliterated them. I was like, fuck! So much for that time. So I didn't get much done there. I was like, alright, I'm gonna do this one more fucking time. That second army was like dwarves and ghosts and barbarians. It was also on Forestria. And the third army was in northeastern Continentia, near Castle Cucamonga. And it had some trolls, some zombies, and I think some elves. And, well, I didn't make the same mistake. And it was very, very fruitful. The giants are coming along for the ride. Because I wanted to fill that 5th stack. They don't fly. That's okay. They got low morale alongside the Archmages. Also okay. Let's disappear all that now. That's all entirely unnecessary. Just like all of this overwhelming power is. Load up the game. 65,000 leadership. Note that I still have close to 1,000,000 gold pieces. After all of the recruiting I did, and all of the cloning I did at 2,000 gold pieces per, plus some miscellaneous expenses I teleport across the 4 continents. I could keep this up until I ran out. Each of my clone spells was getting me between 3 and 4 giants, between 4 and 5 demons, around 8-ish vampires. I don't know whether it was 7 to 8 or 8 to 9, and then 9 to 10 archmages per casting. My spellbook holds up to 90 spells, so I can just don't have to do a whole more maintenance and bookkeeping that a different class would have to, because a sorceress has so much more spell power, and we've had 3 beautiful spell power ups along the way. And as for the actual army, it's as I said. Note that none of these troops have half of my current leadership score, which means this could be improved so much more. But I got bored. You know, it's a huge amount of time invested in just doing this. It's good enough. Our spellbook, also just good enough. Find villain. You can burn through that even when you don't have a villain. Bridges, you can burn through those and the game will be like, oh no, you didn't need a bridge there. What a waste of a spell. Ah! Let's get this show on the road, shall we? Let me confirm where ya boy is, just so that I don't teleport to the wrong castle, because that'd be awkward. He's in Spokana. He's an immense dragon with a green body and blue wings. He breathes fire. Blue wings, you say? He is wanted for leading the conspiracy against the crown, arranging jailbreaks, fomenting rebellion, and then sort of tacked on there, stealing the scepter of order. Nah, it's not that big of a deal. Spokana. Let's go. There is no escaping the prophecy. Is that so? Alright. Turns out he does have slightly more dragons. The demon count, 101. Note that the demons are capable of having, if they feel like doing that. And the vampires... you know. So, the archmages aren't here to vaporize the dragons, because they can't. Spell immunity. But we can work on getting rid of them. We won't completely get rid of that stack, unless I throw a boulder at them. Let's throw a boulder at him. That's what I'm gonna do. Which means I can just use Turn Undead. Just kill 38. Not that big of a deal. We're gonna fly right up here. Big boy time. Get that first strike in. Demons. Come on up here. Have this stack. Have this stack. Vampires. Come on, guys. Really? And then giants, who are more dangerous in melee combat than at range. They don't finish the job. Maybe our demon stack will be punished by being halved. It's good to have dreams. No, my score! My follower is being killed! Oh well. Okay. Shucky darn. Let's resurrect some demons. Hell yeah. Good. We've mostly butchered this one. Let's resolve it. Engage in some conflict resolution. Demons, have that stack. Ugh. What the hell, guys? vampires, and giants. This is why we can't have nice things. Alright, archmages. You're not getting out of this one so easily. Resurrect. Get him. Eat that retail. Have this stack. That's why we can't have nice things. Know that the vampires are holding their own here. So many of them, they can devour enough hit points to come back to full. We've lost a few archmages, and they were more useful than these fucking demons have been, so you get to come back. And just do your jazz hands over there. You sit over here too. Have this stack. I regret resurrecting any of you. I can have the vampires resolve the rest of this, but no, the demons are going to prove their worth. We're kind of good at what we need to do. Nah. Fly back here. Be cheerleaders for the giants. You fly back here. Be cheerleaders for the archmages. This is why we can't have nice things. Fucking demons, man. Oh well. You're gonna kill the stack anyway. Don't you dare. Good. Good. Consistently fucking useless. Alright. That's Arech Dragonbreath dispatched. Well, of course, we needed the contract for, just like all the other contracts. Don't quite know what level of power we're using to contain and imprison these incredibly powerful individuals. I guess Maximus has the infrastructure to resolve that too. Whether there's some way of restraining spell-immune dragons. Beats me. That's that. Put 301 giants there. I feel like they'll keep that one safe. It's pretty well protected. Didn't talk about this, but note that, the army expenses are a little wonky due to number wrapping. Would work in your benefit. Alright, mission accomplished. We did it. Hell yeah, there's no more contracts. Let's teleport back to Hunterville. Day is ours. Come on, I got a complete map for you. Why do I have to do this? You have a bunch of militia and peasants here. Here, if I recruited 1,857 knights, would that help? Raise army to get knights. Use your money. You might be angling for score and not passing so much time. But I mean, that's what the time's there for. Time is a resource to expend like everything else, whether it be hit points or units. Or, you know, say you're playing Hitman. And you earn a bunch of money for doing a mission well, then you spend that money to get some cool stuff. Or you could be a jackass, the cool way, which I did do in my recorded playthrough, of not spending the money at all. For cool points. I think I did spend the money a few times. With that same argument in mind, like I fucking have the resource, and I think I did get some flag for using the money. Fucking people, man. Alright, speaking of fucking people, Maximus, you useless twit. Look, it's right. Hmm. Hmm. We'll talk about this in the finale. Hope you all enjoyed these shenanigans while seeing that there was so much more room to expand upon them, and the sorceress has the easiest time of it, which is why I labeled it as sorcerer shenanigans, because of her immense spell power. Certainly you could embark upon this venture with the paladin, or the knight, or God forbid the barbarian. Or you could just wait around, buy several hundred knights, and save Christmas. I'll share some thoughts about the game in the finale, which will be next time.